Hello, everybody, and welcome to IC Markets Market Commentary. My name is Tamar Mehr from Trade with Precision, and today I want to take a look at two Canadian crosses and Bitcoin. Now, the Canadian dollar is sensitive to the movement of commodities, so we're seeing some strength in the Canadian dollars. So I want to start with Euro CAD, and this is the daily chart. And as we can see, we have been consolidating above this level around the 1.34 area. Now we touched that area, bounced up, touched that area, bounced back up. And as we can see on the momentum indicators, the MACD and the RSI, all through these lows, we were diverging, meaning that as the market was making equal lows or somewhat equal lows, the momentum indicators were actually making higher lows. So that's warned us that potentially if we'll get a break now, it might not work, there might be a pullback, or that the break is not yet ready. And what we can see here is now we're touching again at that area, and the MACD and the RSI, both of them are starting to push lower. You can see that the push that we had after the last touch over here, it actually wasn't as high as we had over here or over here. So the market is trying to compress into that level. So what I'm looking for is a potential break of that level. So looking, for example, on the 4 hours and looking for a press into that level with bearish candles sitting on top of that level with convergence on the momentum indicators, and then looking for a potential break. If, however, we'll break before we get that confirmation from the momentum indicators, then I'll simply be looking for a pullback to test that level from below and a continuation of the move. Because if we'll take a look straight into the monthly, we can see that we are in a very strong downtrend. We are still overextended, but this market is very weak. So instead of having a strong pullback into the averages, we're simply going sideways as we're catching up with the averages. However, we're still overextended. What I've marked here is also the level of this week, the area that the buyers came back after this sell-off and managed to push the price higher. So this is also the 1.3 level. So it's a round number, psychological level on this market. So we can see that potentially if we'll have a break and a continuation, the next strong level of support and resistance will be around here, the 1.3. The next market is pound versus the Canadian. Now this one has already broken, so the level was 1.57. And if we'll take a look here on the weekly chart, we can see that what we've got is a very nice downtrend. We've got the moving averages fanning and in the correct order, and we are still further from the moving averages. However, we pull back already and now we're moving away. On the monthly chart, we can see that break. We can see where we can actually go to. So if I'll zoom out a bit, we can see that this is the origin of this move that pushed higher, and now we're coming close to it. We could potentially come down all the way to here around the 1.52 and even test the low of that area, which is again a round number, the 1.5. So in this case, what I'm looking for is a simple pullback into the averages, potentially on the daily chart or even on the 4 hours or the 1 hours, because what we can see here on the 4 hours, we do have two rejection candles of this low. So looking for a pullback to test this 1.57 from below and a continuation of this move. Lastly, I want to look at Bitcoin, and again looking at break of levels, and you can see here this level, the 28,000. It's a very strong level on this market. If I'll jump into the monthly, we can see the touches that we had on that level on the way up, pull back, touch that level, pushed higher, came down, touched that level, rejected, and now we finally broke below it. Now, if we look at the weekly, we'll see a bit more details around that area. So the weeks that we consolidated above that level before finally breaking below. So what I'm looking for is again a pullback to test this level from below. I do expect this market to potentially come down into the 20,000. This is a point of memory on this chart. So at the end of 2017, that was the high. We can see that here. This was the high that we reached over here and then started the pullback and then attacked that level again. We consolidated a bit around that area. We can see that here on the weekly chart before we continued higher. So you can see a couple of weeks underneath that level before breaking up, pulling back to test it from above, and then continuing higher. This is a strong sell-off, and this is a nice place from a technical ingredient point of view for the market to stop and potentially have more buyers there. So what I'm looking for is a pullback into that area, bearish candle in the sell zone, potentially back into this area between the 10 and the 20 moving averages, that sell zone, and then a continuation of the move. Happy trading, everyone, and I'll speak to you soon.